You are listening to Committed, an ongoing conversation about marriage, intimacy, relationships, and sex. I'm a marriage and relationship coach dedicated to helping couples and individuals like you build stronger, more fulfilling relationships. I have a deep understanding of communication dynamics, conflict resolution, and intimacy. I guide clients through challenges with compassion and expertise. Hi. So just start. Sometimes I have to tell myself, just start. Got to check the mic's good, lighting, still trying to figure it out. So welcome. Today is Sunday. I have a plan to do Saturdays called Reddit Got It Good. I just started my Reddit account and I am engaging with individuals around marriage and relationships. And so I had this great idea to have Saturdays sort of be a community Saturday where I record an informal episode. I address your questions, thoughts, comments, stories. And so this could be a forum where we talk about some of the stories that you have. I've been on TikTok for quite a while now, and so I do get follower stories that they will message me. I haven't thus far replied to people's messages, especially in depth. Sometimes I'll send a quick reply back, but what I want to do is I want to take your stories and share them here. So let's get into it. I have a story from quite a while ago. I'm going to read it. I'm going to give you my sort of hot take advice about it. Now, just to be completely honest, I tried to do this yesterday and my husband totally walked in and it threw me off. Even though I'm all closed off in my office, it just messes with my brain space. And I may actually just need to get earphones. Just to noise cancellation, because yesterday I totally set everything up for success. I said to myself, all right, I'm going to go to yoga. I'm going to go grocery shopping. I'm going to my favorite coffee shop. I'm going to talk to Michael on the phone for a little while, get situated with my emails and everything like that. And then I'm going to come home and I'm going to record for like a half hour. I'm going to do a short episode. I'm going to address this follower's question and then go on with my day. And my husband totally walked in and it just screwed me up. So I'm trying this on Sunday, but my goal is to post every Saturday. So this episode is going to go live next week. And so just understand that I'm recording it on the week before. So if you submit your question, and I want you to submit your questions you can go to my Reddit page. I'm at Marriage and Relations with an S at the end. That's my username. You can also go over to my TikTok at Thea.onrelationships with an S at the end. And Thea is THEA. You can, I don't know if you can send me a message on YouTube. I'm not sure about that quite yet. You can always send me an email or you can reach out through my website and I will address your stories here. Now, if I get a bunch, I need to choose which is the most pertinent unless there are a few short ones. Like in the beginning, I'm not going to get a lot of responses. That's just how it works. Especially I'm new on Reddit, but it is a great forum where people share their stories and their questions and they vent all the time. So I think it's going to be great and I'm really optimistic about it. So anyways, I'm sharing my coffee with you this morning. I hope you have yours and let's get into it. Please, I need some advice. I am in a relationship with a caring, thoughtful man. I have a little boy whose biological father is absent. We don't even know what country he is in. My son and my partner love each other very much, and my partner is as good as gold to him, calling him his own son. This is both the best and worst part of my problem, as my partner is a wonderful man, but who is an alcoholic and an addict. He has been in a steady decline into drinking and drug use for the past 6 months. When he is sober, he is everything I could ever ask for. He has been in a steady decline into drinking and drug use for the past 6 months. When he is sober, he is everything I could ever ask for, and I feel blessed to have him. But when he is drunk, he is angry, aggressive, unpredictable, and violent. Not until last night did he ever lay a hand on me. I came home from work and he was gone without explanation. He came home at 2 a.m., drunk beyond reason with a bloody nose. We weren't even arguing. He just said, I feel like punching you in the head. Can I? Wow. Oh my goodness. And then he swung on me and cracked me one in the jaw. I don't know what to do. This man is a wonderful, beautiful soul when he is sober, but I don't know if I should abandon him because of the drinking or if I should stay and help. If I abandon him, I cannot afford to pay rent by myself. If I abandon him, my son loses the father he has always wanted, and I lose the love of my life. If I abandon him, he will decline so badly that I'm afraid he will die. If I stay with him, I don't know if he will ever get better. Please tell me what I should do. There's a lot here. And I first want to say I'm so sorry that you're going through this because that's a very hard place to be. I think it matters how long you've been together to decide how to proceed. And this is what I mean. I don't think that anyone who physically harms you is a safe person to be in your household, period. So no matter what, my feedback is here that you need to immediately remove him from the home or remove yourself from the home. Because if he is a physical danger to you and you can't control when he's drinking or using other substances, you also can't control what happens with your son. And you need to first and foremost protect your son. So that's the first piece here. If you had said, we've been together for 10 years, I would say maybe there's a chance to work on things. But when I say work on things, I'm thinking for sure he needs to go to a rehabilitation facility, be separated from you and your son for a good period of time to be able to become, again, a safe person to be with. I want to know what's been happening over the past 6 months. Has it been going on longer? Has he been lying to you about it? I would be very skeptical of that. Over the time that you've been with him, say you've been with him for a year and over the past 6 months, this behavior has started coming up. Well, you really didn't know him then, right? If you've been just together for a year. But if you've been together for a long time, I would question, has there been other signs and symptoms that have been shown to you that you haven't necessarily noticed? I understand it's a really hard place to be in, but my gut instinct is like, this is not your person. At the end of your message, you said, he's a wonderful, beautiful soul when he's sober. I don't know if I should abandon him. And the thing is that I really question, has he been a wonderful, beautiful soul just up until the 6 months? I don't doubt that he's a wonderful person because I do believe people are inherently good, most people. And he is obviously afflicted by something that's causing him to move towards substances to cope. But these are not healthy behaviors that you want your son around. And you're doing your son and your partner a disservice by allowing him to stay in the home, honestly. You're sharing with him that the behavior is acceptable. And what I really think that is vital and imperative is that you put a very strict and hard boundary down that says, absolutely not, this is not okay. To even get to the point where he's coming in the home and physically hurting you, it has just gone too far. That is literally the last straw. I would not feel safe leaving my children with someone who has a substance use problem because they're not able to control themselves. And so I wouldn't trust that they can control a situation. Also, is your son losing the father that he's never had? Because in my perspective, someone who uses substances and sets that example for their child is not being the best father that they could possibly be. In the future, if he's able to rehabilitate and he's able to change his tune and change the way that he copes and really understand what's beneath his need to use substances, right? And maybe for the first time ever, he can be the father that your son has never had. But it's much better to have a mother that protects you or a father that protects you if it's the opposite situation, a parent that protects you from someone who is not capable of caring for you. And so that's really where I'm at with this. And I want to share my utmost compassion. I know that there's a lot of people out there who would be like, absolutely fucking not. Dump his ass. He's not the partner for you. He should never touch you. And I very much agree that he should never be laying a hand on you in a physically aggressive way. I also understand how people change when they're using substances, and the way that they are when they're using substances is not the way that they are on a regular basis. I understand the attachment. I can see the attachment that you have to him, and I want to honor that for you. At the same time, you need to do what's best for yourself, and you cannot have him in the home. It's 100% no. Looking at, if I abandon him, he will decline so badly that I'm afraid he will die. That's not your responsibility. I'm so sorry to say. It is not your responsibility. You become a codependent partner, and codependency is something that's very near and dear to my heart. You should not be managing other people. We as humans, as parents, have to manage our children and manage ourselves, and that is enough. And managing our children is even sort of a hairy line, because we should be caring for our children and guiding our children, but the level of guidance is up for grabs here, right? There is a way to go overboard with that, of course, and to become codependent where we're now controlling other people's behaviors. And that's often what happens in substance abuse. I highly recommend you read the book Codependent No More by Melody Beattie. I've read it a few times now throughout my career in this field and absolutely adore it. And it's just a great book. It will tell you a lot about yourself. It will help you learn about what's going on for the other person and the healthiest way to move forward. Let's move on to the next question. Can I ask you a question? You don't have to respond. Oh, I'm responding. My ex broke up with me 2 weeks ago. Second time breaking up. We have been in no contact. I want her back so badly, but today is her birthday. I texted her happy birthday and was blunt as possible, it should say. I shouldn't have, but I did. 2 hours later, she responded, "Thank you, blank, this person's name. That means a lot. How have you been?" What do I respond to that if I want her back? So I'm really a fan of being straightforward about the things that you want. I am not a fan of playing games. I'm personally not 20 years old anymore. I don't know how old you are, but if you broke up for a reason. What was that reason? If you were to explore the relationship again, you do need to address whatever it is you broke up about. Were there a multitude of issues? Are you just not compatible with one another? What is it that happened to create the ending of your relationship? Who broke up with who, right? And that's important. If you broke up with her, then what were your reasons for breaking up, and why do you want to go get back together? Because attachment is strong and longing is strong. Loneliness drives us often to do things that in our right mind we may not choose to do. And so I really want you to consider, why do you want her back? What happened to create the ending of the relationship? And be careful as you move forward with this, because if she easily says yes, for example, are you just getting yourself back into the patterns that you were in that led you to the breakup? So if she broke up with you, she may just innocently be asking you how you are. She may be polite, and that's why she's sending that text message back. My gut instinct is like, you broke up for a reason, leave it. But at the same time, people break up, people get divorced, and also back together. So I think if it's an early 20s relationship, I would leave it. If you're older than that and you have the wherewithal to go to couples counseling or couples coaching, that's what I do for work with many couples and high conflict couples often. And so I would suggest you definitely seek some kind of counseling or coaching from somebody who is qualified to do what they do to help you so that you can have a healthier way moving forward. However, the first step is that you have to understand if she is even interested in having a relationship again with you. So, I betrayed my wife with porn, flirting, ogling women, and keeping female work friends from her. One of those work friends became as close to an emotional affair as possible without ever meeting in person more than once a year for work. My D-Day was 2 weeks ago. Since then, she's been talking to other men on Tinder as a way to rebuild her self-confidence. We are still married on paper and cohabitating, but this is killing me. She's even exchanged phone numbers with 2 men. What should I do? So first of all, you have a serious problem, just point blank. And I say that with the most respect possible because I want you to understand and know that you need to get help for yourself. If you are in a relationship with someone, and it could be monogamous, non-monogamous, whatever it is, the agreement that you have to just be only with each other sexually, emotionally to an extent has been broken. It wasn't broken once. It wasn't something that you were super remorseful about. It was something that you did multitude of times. Porn, flirting, oogling women. I don't even know how to pronounce that word. Ogling women, keeping female work friends. One of the people became an emotional affair over time. This is repeated and heavy behavior that's been happening for quite a while. So that's the first thing. You need to get yourself help. I think on the other end of things, I also question your wife because while I think that you could make an agreement that you're going to stay together and that she goes out and has her fun, whatever that means, sounds like going on Tinder is her fun and talking to people to make her feel like she has some sort of control in this situation, to a situation that she had literally no control or say in before. I understand that. At the same time, if it wasn't like the down conversation where you had an agreement about it, there's retaliatory behavior happening, and it just signals to me that this is not an adult relationship. I think that there's a lot of people out there who cheat multiple times and then they expect that their partner should just be able to move through this, or you can just go to counseling and work through it and move on. But the reality is that if this has been happening for such a long time, it sounds like you said over a year with one of the people, this is a serious problem. So first and foremost, you need to get some help for yourself because this isn't about your wife. This is about you. In a different situation where maybe you meet one coworker and you have an emotional affair with that person, or you even have a physical affair with that person, and then you can point back and say, all right, me and my spouse struggled for X number of months and years, and then I moved forward to an affair. I can rationalize that a little bit more. I don't think it's the right path and the right choice, but I can understand it a bit more that I can understand this. The first thing that you should do is go to your partner. That's your first course of action. You should go to your partner, and you shouldn't go to them like they're in the middle of doing something, they're working, they're walking out the door, they're getting into the shower to rush out to do something, they're hanging out with the kids, they're making food for the kids. No. This conversation should be a serious sit-down conversation where you ask for consent to have the conversation in the first place. Say that you want to talk about something important. You sit down and you say, hey, listen, I have something that I want to share with you. I'm struggling with XYZ in our relationship. And then you want to see, how does your partner respond? And then you want to move to the next level if they don't respond to that. So maybe suggest, after letting them cool down after the conversation, and just kind of and see if they come around and have a follow-up conversation with you. But if they totally dismiss you and move on, then your next level would be, I want to go to counseling with you. I want to go to therapy with you. I want to talk about this and figure it out. Okay, so those are the things that I want you to do first if you're actually literally struggling in your relationship. But people have affairs. The research says that people who have affairs stay together most of the time. There are many people who go through that situation and they do work it out, and you can become stronger after an affair. But going back to this follower question, this is not an affair with one person. This is so much more than that. Your wife needs some space from you and separation from you so she can get right with herself. And she also needs therapy after dealing with this. And then the last that I'm going to address, so someone had sent me a message about PE, which is premature ejaculation, how to fix that. This is something that I worked with individuals on in my practice, especially earlier on in my work, because people would come to me heavily for sex stuff. I'm not going to say there's not a lot of places to go, but obviously sex is such a taboo topic and people really struggle. So with PE, the very first thing that I ask anyone who comes to me to talk about this is, are you healthy? Like, have you gone to the doctor? Have you gotten your blood levels checked to make sure that everything is in balance in a place that's healthy for you? Because we know that everybody has a different body. So that's first. And then we want to start standing what is your sexual background? What is your sexual history? Who are your sexual partners, or who is your partner that you are having sex with, and how does that work? Not that this is fairly complex, but there's kind of a lot of questions that I want to ask to understand, because everyone's situation is going to be different and the reasons why they're struggling with PE are going to be different. One practice that I'm kind of going to leave you with here, the practice of edging. So edging is a practice that is used to extend your arousal before the moment that you ejaculate. And so if you look at your arousal as sort of scale of 1 to 10, you start to track, where am I on that scale? And I'll start working with clients on, like, when you first start masturbating or when you first start having sex, where are you? And when I say sex, I don't mean penetrative sex. I mean in the foreplay process, because oftentimes, like, I'll give you an example. One person had shared with me at one point that when they go down on their partner, they are laying on their stomach on the bed and they're moving their body and it's rubbing their penis on the bed, which was a huge turn on for them. And so by the time they get to penetration, they've been stimulated so much that they are ready to ejaculate, and they were having a hard time controlling themselves. So a multi-step thing. First, reducing the amount of stimulation that you're getting before you actually have penetrative sex. So like blowjobs, no self-masturbation, no hand jobs from your partner. And then also working on controlling yourself, which edging is a really helpful practice for. So that's going to conclude this episode today. I want to also share that I want to do like giveaway. So if you leave me a review on either YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, which also Apple Podcasts and Spotify have more episodes than YouTube because I just started doing video podcasts. But if you leave me a review on any of those platforms, I will pick from my reviewers every week and I will mail you a copy of my card deck. It's called Relate Connect. You can enhance your intimacy and connection with one another. So I would say, get ready to have deep connection with your partner. You can grab 1 or 2 cards and have a really nice conversation. something that I've heard from couples we just don't know what to talk about anymore. Like, been together for so long that we run out of things to have conversations about. And what I find about couples is that they often don't have deep, connected conversations with one another. It just happens every once in a while, maybe when they have a conflict. And so what I love about this card deck is it brings that opportunity to have those connections to one another more regularly. It's not a large card deck. You can bring it out to dinner. You can also just grab a couple cards. I've left the deck in my car before so that when my husband and I go out to dinner, we just grab a couple cards and bring them into the restaurant. I'm going to pick for my reviewers. If you have an amazing review, I will read your review on the podcast every week. And then I will have you reach out to me through my email, intimacyandrelationships@gmail.com, and send me your name and address, and I will mail you one of my card decks as a little thank you. Because when I get more reviews, then my podcast will grow. My goal is to have my YouTube video podcast grow. And so I would just really appreciate that. And so this will be my thank you to you. Thanks for tuning in. I'm so happy that we had this Saturday read Sunday chat, and I'll be back next week with more. Thanks so much for tuning into the podcast. If you're new to our community, welcome. We really want our podcast to grow. So please like, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review with your feedback on how we can make your experience most catered to you. As I work with my private clients continuously, this podcast is a great way for me to help more of you. Please reach out